Now, from the University of Okoboji, it's Okoboji Broadcast with Jeff Thee.
Welcome to Okoboji Broadcast, everybody. I'm Jeff Thee, coming to you from our studios right here at historic Arnold's Park Amusement Park, and I'm proud to have here with me today State Senator Dave Rowley, 5th Senate District from Spirit Lake, and welcome, Senator. Thanks for being here with me.
Thank you, Jeff.
I thought it'd be a good time to come in here as you just completed the first funnel through the legislative session for this year, and another one coming up here in about a month. But it wouldn't hurt to just kind of remind people what the funnel is all about, Senator.
Yeah, so we're at the just finished our sixth week, and the funnel is where all the bills that were being submitted, run through subcommittee, all those bills have to get through a full committee, standing committee of whichever committee they go to, in order to be considered for floor debate.
All right.
So bills that did go to subcommittee where you have discussion, you explore what the bill is, you have people participate from the public, you go through that process, and typically you'll want to move those along to keep that discussion going, and they move up then to your full committee. And then those are passed. When you pass out of the full committee, now it's eligible for floor debate. So that funnel deadline was actually is today.
Yeah.
Technically that's it.
Yeah.
We had a busy week this week, Jeff. I mean, because we had to move all these bills into subcommittee fast if we were going to get them out of that full committee. In some cases, you'd have a subcommittee at 8:30 in the morning, and you were meeting at 10 o'clock in the full committee.
Yeah.
That's how close it gets.
Right.
We all have bills that we're running on behalf of constituents as well as on behalf of the committee itself. So I serve on judiciary, I serve on commerce, workforce, health and human services, appropriations, and ways and means. And so you have all of this coming into those committees and trying to run those bills. The one thing that people should realize too, appropriations, ways and means, ways and means, especially if there's any fees involved or money involved, then that can hold on over. So that'd be funnel proof.
Okay. Is the number of things that after the funnel that are cut down significantly, or is it just a smaller amount, or not to give a percentage, but I imagine it kind of allows you to focus a little bit more, because these, we're not even talking about these anymore.
Right. Well, if you can visualize that funnel, that's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
That first one brings it on down to a smaller group, and then you're at that point where once it goes through that, then leadership will decide which bills will go on the floor debate.
Yeah. And
that's very important because you have priority bills that the legislature has themselves or the governor may have in this situation. And so to answer your question, it's hard to say how many, but quite a few. It does go down there. And, even though it passes out of committee a certain way, if it goes to the floor, there can still be amendments applied to those bills.
Right.
And to tailor it somewhat, to make it more palatable, if you will, before it goes over to the House.
Yeah.
And so that's why you have a first funnel, to vet those bills, get them through, have debate on them. And then before the second funnel comes March 15th, where now you start to look at the House bills and debate.
A bit of fine-tuning.
It is.
Kind of goes on,
It's a wonderful process that I've learned.
Yeah.
It really is. And it truly is grassroots government.
Yeah.
I mean, it does really trickle up, and all this stuff is presented. And I understand there may be as many as 2,300, 2,500 bills that are out there that get funneled down, and maybe 150 will be signed by the governor. So government is slow for a purpose, because you want to make sure you're minimizing unintended consequences.
And a fast track could certainly do that.
But that's where we're at right now. So next week we will have full debate on the floor, several bills.
Okay, very good. Well, as you've been moving along and bills that you've been trying to get through, where are we right now? What are some of the things that you think are important, Senator?
Well, there's some bills that I've worked on. I'll tell you about a couple of insurance bills that's been my background in commerce. I seem to have been more involved in certain bills that deal with banking, finance, and insurance. And I'll just touch on those. There's one bill I can tell you. It's Senate File 2359. This is a great bill for Iowa. Mainly because it's a hard market out there for insurance right now. It's difficult to find insurance carriers or companies that will write your home for a lot of reasons. We had derechos, we had floods, we've had tornadoes, we've had hailstorms.
Right.
Just all the things that could go wrong. The last 5 years has made it very difficult. We actually last year, and you may not know this, but we had 4 companies pull out of Iowa to write personal lines. Mm-hmm. I could name them off, but
Florida's had similar issues.
It's Florida, California. You run into issues where when you have weather patterns changing, which admittedly they affect a lot of people. But this bill, in a small way and yet a very big way, because this put so much pressure on people if they were being non-renewed on their homeowners for whatever claims or just the companies getting out of that line.
Yeah.
If they're being non-renewed. They only had, by Iowa code, 30 days. The companies were required to send a notice out 30 days in advance of your renewal date.
Okay.
This bill, and it's a very easy fix, extends it to 60 days. Now, what that does, it allows consumers to have more time to shop, talk to their agent, and it also allows that agent to shop for options for them. Yeah. So it's something that we're doing to help that. And all that. Another bill along this line is about reinsurance and the Senate File 2293. And what that does is that allows reinsurance carriers to operate in the state of Iowa as long as they meet compliance requirements under the Iowa Insurance Division by the commissioner. We have several reinsurance companies that operate in Iowa without a licensing. They don't have a license to do that, but they operate. They may be offshore, they may be national, and it doesn't matter. But they all have to meet the commissioner's approval and also qualify to write here. So what this bill does is just say, it simply says a no license is required, because it's already not really out there anyway. But it must meet compliance requirements of the Iowa Insurance Division. What that'll do is hopefully incent other reinsurance carriers to come in and take care of some of our county mutuals that require reinsurance agreements and treaties. We had a little bit of a scare this last year where a reinsurer pulled out. And that left, I believe, 15 of our county mutuals across the state of Iowa ready to close.
Sure.
I mean, they can't write business.
Yeah. My goodness. Yeah.
And fortunately, through actions that the Iowa Insurance Division did, they retained that reinsurer. But this will help invite more reinsurers. Our code is written for Iowa and not necessarily the same as other states. So this isn't anything unusual in comparison. So this is a good bill, and I'm looking forward to getting that through as well. Something else I want to talk about, though, I can tell you Senate File 2360. This is a bill about genetic data. So currently in law, and this all stemmed back in 2010-11 with Obamacare, you could not use genetic data to more or less discriminate on writing health insurance. So that was in there that we needed to have that in law, and that was part of it that went along there. This bill takes a look at life insurance companies, disability insurance companies, and long-term care companies. And it says that they cannot use genetic material and data to do rate making, to do underwriting requirements, and also to price. So the concern I had on this bill, it popped up just by chance. The concern I had right off the bat is that where are we going with this genetic material, genetic data? If you have a biomarker, I understand that for health insurance, and I understand that, but now you're into, of course, they're voluntary products. You don't have to buy these products. But even if that's the case, where are we going with genetic material being used as a underwriting factor?
Right.
Because actuarially, in my opinion, it's based typically on outcomes to know that mortality is all predictive, things along that line. But Jeff, if you had a genetic material that said your predisposition for heart disease
Right, yeah.
or cancer, something
Right,
on that
yep.
line, even though there's a propensity for that and possibility of that, and you will work with that as well, I'm a little uncomfortable with that being an underwriting factor
Yeah.
of now pricing you
Right.
higher and higher than, say, the law of large numbers.
Yes.
And the reason I advanced this bill, or really wanted to, and we got it out of sub and we got it out of full committee in Commerce, we need to take a look at that and have that discussion.
Yeah.
And so it's a good bill. I've already had a lot of interesting opponents, wanting to, convince me otherwise, and I'm open to listen.
Right.
But I think it's something that I'm concerned on down the road. Have you ever seen the movie Minority Report?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Same thing.
Exactly.
You may
Yep.
have the best material, you may have the best propensity or projection or prediction, and saying that, this is in your future, and you may even have the very day, I may have the very day I'm going to die.
Yeah.
Something like that because of genetic material.
Yes.
But should that be used in rating? Should that be
Right.
used to now
Yep.
segment? Because now you're going to have the healthiest of healthiest, and you're going to have maybe the people. And who's to say that if that person smokes, and you smoke, I smoke,
Yeah.
and we're both now classified and rated up?
Right.
So the difference is you may be working on stopping smoking and doing all the things necessary to be healthy.
Yeah.
And I may not, but now we're in that same group.
Yeah. Yeah.
See what
exactly. Yep.
Yeah, anyway, those are interesting things that I really enjoy.
Extremely
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Boy, I mean, you just got a whole bunch of stuff here, Senator, and
Well, let's talk about this. I wasn't on this bill, but it was a Senate study bill, 3169,
Mm-hmm.
and I talked to a few people about it. It has to do with siting and the operation of certain wind energy conversion facilities.
Yeah.
Wind turbines.
yeah.
So this bill was going to be an across-state, pretty much grid, not grid, but guidelines
Yeah.
of how we should have or address this proliferation of wind turbines across the state of Iowa. It's a good bill. I think it's very spirited. I think it's got a lot of inspiration behind it to take an approach and finally lay out some planning for how we do this in the future. But it did not. It did not get to move forward.
Right.
And what happened in that discussion was mainly. I don't think we're quite ready for it. I believe we have to have a holistic approach to the sightings and how this all works in the state of Iowa.
Yeah.
But my concern with this bill was local control. I believe that it all starts with private property rights.
Right.
That you as an individual, you have your local control for your property.
And I would agree.
And then that trickles up to your city, your county, to try to retain as much local control as possible. My concern was with this bill is it came in and pretty much kind of neutralized that local control you would have, county supervisors would have, and citizens. So I was uncomfortable with that.
Yeah.
So that was one that was a very good conversation, and I'm hoping in the off season, because a lot of work went into this bill, and I respect that in the people, the senator who ran it.
Yeah.
But I think it needs more discussion.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to working on something like that on the off season with the senator.
Like you've told me on numerous occasions that a lot of bills are several sessions in the making as you explore things, learn things, ask questions, and some things take time to do it correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some bills I know we passed last year. One senator was so excited about getting it through, and he'd been working on it for 12 years.
Yeah.
And,
12 years is an overnight success.
It can be.
Yeah.
It can. Well, the good news is, though, by the time it got to the floor and passed, it was a better bill, than it had been.
Yes.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. want to talk about AEA at all? Where we're going?
We can talk about that. First of all, I'd like to remind our viewers that you can always see these meetings on legis.iowa.gov.
Okay.
If you Google that or type that in and look for the particular committee it's on. I think in this case that would be the Education Committee, and that if you go look at that, there'll be a little camera icon next to that. You click on that, you'll be able to watch the whole session. The Education Committee was supposed to meet at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. They weren't able to meet till I believe 6:30, somewhere in there, and that was about a good 2-hour, 3-hour type discussion.
Right.
Now, when you look at the film, and I watched it too, the first 40 minutes, I think, it's dead space. So you have to go forward a little bit to see it. But so the AEA, of course, is the governor's priority. It came on over, and the House was silent on it. And so the Senate decided to take it up. And it's gotten to this point, and you'll see the Thursday evening meeting again, where an amendment was filed, making a lot of changes to the original bill. And so you've got a lot of strike-throughs, you've got some more added language and just more specific type approaches to it.
Yeah.
But the one thing I want to say right away is that, first of all, I'm not on the Education Committee, so I can't really speak for the Education Committee or the senator who's running, who is Senator Evans, and he's just south of us and does a great job.
Right.
Senator Evans is a former superintendent, teacher, administrator. He's got tremendous experience, and so he's just the right person to be working on this bill.
Right.
So right off the get-go, though, there's a lot of things being said that stakeholders such as the AEA chiefs or other people were not part of this discussion. It may not have been as communicative or whatever as they'd like, but all stakeholders really have been visited with. I mean, personally, I've been talking to people, just hearing from them, actually in the last 6 months. So, and I'm not even on the Education Committee, and yet their input's real important.
Sure.
So that's part of the discussion. But the AEAs will be providing the same service as they do now. And that is very clear in the bill, and no changes. There'll be changes, but those services will still be provided as well.
Sure.
The main goal is to help with kids with disabilities. Is that there's a gap in achievement right now that the governor felt is very critical at a time when the federal government could step in and start to do it the way they want to do it. And so people ask about the urgency of this. It does give you a little sense of urgency that you might want to fix this before it goes too far. I think the fundamentals of the bill have to do with funding, and in all states, the funding goes directly to the school district, and then it goes with their decision making to the AEA.
Okay.
In the state of Iowa, they're really a pass-through. The school districts are a pass-through of those funds.
Sure.
And it goes right to the AEA. And you will have some idea of what those funds are, supported by property tax, state tax, federal. So you have all of that involved in it. So that's the crux of the bill, is how the funding is going to work. The concern is that if school districts have that control, what decisions will they be making? Is that watering down the AEA and the quality and everybody involved in that? And I want to say right off the start, everybody does a wonderful job with the AEA. I mean, my own son, he had to use the AEA for speech, little speech therapy. And so anybody who's had an experience with the AEA and the people that work, the boots on the ground, they're terrific. They really are.
Right.
So this is just a matter of looking at the organization itself and how we can improve the special needs and along that line. So the crux of it is then the funding, how it goes, and letting those school districts decide. So I guess I'm not sure how deep I want to get in this, but it's something that I would just advise. It was voted through, and it did pass on Thursday night. It's a great example of the give and take and all that, and the discussion back and forth. And where we're going with that right now, I'm sure it'll go on the floor, and there'll be a debate there. And then it'll go from there, and of course, it goes to the House.
Yes.
And so we're going to have a little bit of that sausage making as it goes along.
Yeah.
But it's not something you want to jump in and, it's one of those more media-oriented type of bills.
Get excited about it, and get opinions, and
Right, But I've appreciated everybody that's contacted me. I've probably had 1,200 emails and a lot of different thoughts, so I am listening. I'm hearing it. I remain somewhat neutral where we're at on the final bill,
right?
To take a look at it, but it's a good discussion to have, and again, a great example of grassroots on up and how we're all working together, I guess, with education.
Right. Well, I know that you'll probably be busy with a couple forums coming up here, and do we have some tomorrow that?
Actually, tomorrow is our county conventions.
Oh,
yeah. So I
no
get a day off
for you tomorrow.
No forums. Wait a minute. Is that from Seinfeld?
no forums for you.
So I do have forums coming up next week on Friday. Okay, let me get this right. Friday. Saturday. It'll be in Spencer.
Eggs and Issues down there next Saturday.
Eggs and Issues, in a week. And then a week after that, I'll be on Friday at Lake Mills on March 1st, I believe.
Okay.
Lake Mills, Thompson, Forest City at Waldorf College.
Okay.
On that Friday. And then on the 2nd, I'll have, Algona at that. And I'm pausing because I think I have Emmitsburg a week from tomorrow first, and then Eggs and Issues will be after that.
Okay.
But I appreciate everybody's feedback, getting a hold of me. My newsletter, I just released it this morning, so it should be out. And looking forward to hearing from constituents and everybody involved in our district.
Very good. Senator, I thank you for taking time with me, and as maybe we get closer to the second and last funnel, we can go over again and see where we're headed at that point.
I love to, Jeff. This is great, and thank you and Okoboji Broadcasting for doing this.
It's my pleasure, and I appreciate all your service as well.
Thank you.
All right. State Senator Dave Rowley here with us is a little update on this legislative session. We thank the Senator for his time. We thank you for watching us right here on Okoboji Broadcast.
Okoboji Broadcast from the studios at historic Arnold's Park Amusement Park is brought to you in part by West Wealth Management, a financial advisory practice of Ameriprise Financial Services. Advisor Jan Spielman, AJ Spielman, and Erica Wachholz. The headquarters of the University of Okoboji is at the Three Sons, open Monday through Saturday 10 to 5 and Sunday from 10 to 4. Bank Midwest, dream big, plan wisely, live well. Lakes Regional Healthcare and Avera Partner. Beck Engineering in Spirit Lake. Be Radiant Laser Skin Studio in the Okoboji Plaza in Okoboji.